And everyday regular Rebecca Lang is back. She's the author of Southern Entertaining for a New Generation. This time she brings her Southern charm to a fall classic, tailgating. And she's in the kitchen today making also a classic, fried chicken. Hey, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
You know, people would think, well, fried chicken, that's, you know, one of those basic things that I think everybody needs to know how to make well.
I do too.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people that are really good cooks, but they're a little scared to fry. They don't fry chicken. But it's really easy, and I'll show you that it's one of the fastest ways to cook chicken.
Okay.
So, you know, you can do it on a weeknight.
Every Sunday was chicken at Grandma's house. So.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah, great memories of fried chicken as a kid.
And I actually had fried chicken at our tailgate in Athens that we won't talk about poor Athens anymore.
We won't talk about that.
The
but
Georgia
hey,
Bulldogs.
you had great food. I bet you had a great tailgate party.
Yes. The tailgate was good. The game not so good. But I like to start my fried chicken with a smaller chicken because when you go to the grocery store and you buy a chicken that's already cut up in the packages, those pieces of chicken are much larger than if you buy a chicken that's a whole chicken. So it does take about 5 minutes to cut the chicken up.
Okay.
And I like to buy.
But that's tricky. Not everybody knows how to carve a
It
whole
is kind of
chicken.
tricky.
It's tricky too.
But I buy about a 3.5 pound chicken, so look for the little bitty guys.
Okay.
You're going to cut out with your just your kitchen shears, cut out the backbone first. Once that's out, this chicken will lay flat like it is, and you can see I've already cut straightway through the breast.
Okay.
And now all you do is take the dark meat off, and you can just walk right through with your knife, and you can find the joint, and it'll pop off.
Right.
And then you can take off the wings, or you can leave the wings straight on the breast if you want to. But I like to take it off so everybody has a little bit. And my favorite part is the drumstick.
I know, that's mine too. Now, you do leave the thigh and the drumstick together, or do you separate those?
It's kind of up to you. I usually, for fried chicken, leave them separated. But if I'm going to roast a chicken, I leave them together just for a little big serving. But that takes a long time to cook in the fryer, so I usually take them apart.
Okay.
Now,
and you do this nice little trifold with the wing, and that's what.
You know, I
Grandma
can't
taught me
take
to
credit for that. That's what it came as. But if I do normally do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I even take this wing tip off because that has no meat on it.
Yeah, there's nothing on there.
And
But it's a good handle.
It is a nice handle. Yeah. But it's sometimes, you know, if you have a small frying pan, get rid of that and make some place for something you can eat later.
Okay.
Now, I brine my chicken. This is my grandmother's chicken, who we called Tom. Her last name was Thomas, and some reason we always just called her Tom. But her chicken is the best.
I always wonder how grandmas get their names.
Isn't that funny? Well, now cool grandmothers pick their names before the baby comes. Like my mom said,
"You will
here's
call
who I
me
am."
Nana.
Yes, that's what my mom is now Mimi, and that was set before the baby came. But I just have some regular salt. I'm going to put over my chicken that I've already cut up.
Now that's quite a bit of salt.
It's a lot of salt. We use a 1/4 cup of salt. And we're going to just put in some water. Now, everybody, I'm sure, has brined before. It literally means soaking in salt water.
I actually have not.
You haven't?
I have not. But I hear that there's a great brining recipe for a Thanksgiving turkey that I want to try this year.
I do that every year.
Do
and
you?
You can literally just use salt and water.
Okay.
You can use sugar. For brine turkey, you can use spices, sugar. A lot of people use apple juice in there too.
And so what's
You
the
can pour
value of the
anything.
brining? What does that do?
It helps to seal in the moisture on the chicken or on the bird. So when we come out of the frying pan, the bird is a lot more moist. It's a lot crispier. It's going to have more salt flavor, which I like the salty fried chicken. So the longer you let it sit, the saltier it gets. So I usually let this go about 45 minutes in the fridge. You can leave it out if you want to, just for that amount of time. But you can even go overnight if you just have space in your refrigerator.
Okay.
That's what counts. But we let that sit in there, and we're going to pretend that it has gone in Magic TV time for 45 minutes. And then you just take them out and just set them on a paper towel.
Let them drip.
Let them drip dry. And this is when you want to keep everything close together, because everybody likes to, you know, keep all the chicken close so you're not making such a mess in your kitchen. And now...
Yeah, fried chicken is one of those, you sort of have to clear the counter.
Yeah, and then have your cleanup spray ready, you know, as soon as you're finished. Now, a lot of people do fried chicken, I'm sure you've heard, in buttermilk, and then they put it in their flour. Some people use whole milk. But my grandmother went straight from the water onto the pan into the flour.
Because it's already moisturized with the water there,
we don't
so you don't need any other moisture.
And if you use buttermilk, which is great if you do, you're going to have a much crispier, larger coating. So you'll see when this comes out of the pan, we just have a thin, crispy layer. And so the more thick you want your coating, you want to use milk if you want to. Even an egg will make it very
Thicker.
thick.
Okay.
And I have a restaurant here in Atlanta that I wrote the book for, Mary Mac's Tea Room.
Yeah.
They actually do 2 batters where they'll dip it in just regular flour, and then they'll dip it in a mixture of flour and water. So they have a really thick, crispy, I call it deafening. When you bite in that chicken, nobody can talk to you because you can't hear them, which is fantastic.
It's all crunchy.
It's great. I love it. Now we're going to just put some salt and pepper in my flour, and this is just all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And just a little bit of pepper. We don't want to overwhelm the chicken with it. Some people put in Cajun spices. You know, you can always make your chicken your own.
Salt seasoning or just whatever you want to.
And you might not want to put salt seasoning in here because we have so much salt.
You've already brined it. And you've got a lot of salt in that.
But
meat already.
you know, if you wanted to put some dried herbs, you can always do kind of
Yeah.
fun stuff. And people
Maybe
are
some
scared to play
rosemary
with
or
it.
something.
But yeah, that'd be great. Now you put your just coat in the flour. Now, if you're smarter than I am, people that are really good fryers have one hand that they use for wet ingredients,
Yes.
one hand that they use for dry.
Ah.
So then you're not dipping back and forth, and you get
That's always my
coated.
challenge. I'm like coated up to here. I've got flour goo.
Yeah. Well, I say the first 5 seconds that I'm going to do that, and as soon as I start talking,
Yeah.
it's done.
I'm crossing over and getting multiple hands and fingers and
Yeah, and if you're used to multitasking anyway, it's just easier to kind of wash your hands later. Now I'm going to dip these just a little bit. Now here's the trick when you're frying. What I have over here is, this was some Crisco that I just melted.
Okay.
Different people fry in different things. That's what I like to fry in. And if you'll look at my skillet, this is my grandmother's skillet.
look at that good
is
old cast iron.
much
I've got
older than
my
I am.
grandmother's cast iron at home as well.
Well, I think there should be a rule that all cast irons should be older than you are.
Yes.
So no matter how old you are, you got to have somebody older's pan. Now I'm going to put this in, and you look how I'm going to lay the chicken going away from me, because
Okay.
I don't want in any case to have the chicken fall back this way
And
and
splat
splash
on
some
you.
oil on me.
But that's good and hot already because it's sizzling and
It's really hot, and the key to fried chicken, really good crispy chicken, is to have hot oil. If you put it in there when the oil is not hot enough, that's when the chicken soaks up all the oil.
Yes.
And if you've had soggy fried chicken, it is awful.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people have soggy fried chicken, and they say, oh, I don't like fried chicken because they had a really bad chicken.
yes.
We try to have really hot oil, and I know everybody thinks frying is so bad for you. I'm certainly not going to tell you that it's good for you, but,
But it's so good.
it tastes so good.
It's very tasty.
But if the oil is hot enough, you have less soaking up of the oil.
Yeah.
So cold oil soaks into the chicken, which you then eat more oil.
Right.
So if it can be more healthy, this is the way to get it there. So,
Now, do you do the entire cooking here, or do you take it out and do some baking and finishing?
don't go in the oven at all.
Okay.
I stay in this pan the whole time. And the reason why people in the South fry so much, or used to fry so much, is because you could heat this up very fast and cool it down very fast. So before we had air conditioning,
Yes.
and you know, there was a time when the big southern houses had their kitchens in a separate building because it
Right.
was so hot. When you heat this up, you cook your meal and you're done. But if you turn on an oven, which I do a lot at home and have to crank up the air
The
conditioning,
heat stays in the house.
right. So
Oh,
this is
good.
why we fry like we do, because it's so hot down here.
Oh, interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
There's always something historical as
There's
to
always
why
a
we do what
reason.
we do.
And I brought some of my favorite frying tools. And this one, I think we have used before. This is called a spider. And
Yes.
if you're scooping out your fried chicken, this is really good for it.
Oh, good.
And of course, some heat-proof tongs you want to have ready. And this, mine has been used and loved on, so it's kind of obviously used at this point.
But these are great.
Love these. Put
They
this
just
straight on
keep
top of here.
the sparks and the
Yeah.
oil from.
You don't get it popped on your skin. You don't have it popped all over your stove. And a lot of people don't want to fry because the mess it makes. But this really cuts
It does
down
cut
on
down
it.
on that a
And
lot.
then this goes in the dishwasher, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And on the cast iron pan, you literally wipe those out. You don't even have to wash them after they're ready, after they're finished.
Okay.
And what I do with this hot oil afterwards is I let it cool down completely. And then I pour that oil, if I'm not going to reuse it, which I rarely do. But if it's cool enough, pour it into a zip top bag,
Yeah.
and zip it up, put it in your trash can. Never pour oil down your
your
drain.
sink.
It's
Yes.
bad for the environment, it's bad for your pipes, it's bad for everything.
So put it in a Ziploc, put it in the trash.
Put it in the trash, and then you'll
My
be
grandmother
finished.
had a spot in her yard where she would pour the oil into the dirt.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
That's good for it, too.
I'm not sure why, but she put it in the dirt.
Well,
So-
you have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have kind of a special way I like to drain. I always drain on a cooling rack set over a cooking sheet.
Okay.
And I brought this because a long time ago, old Southerners drained on paper bags. So you always had your paper grocery bag, but this is the fancy version.
Yes.
But
the
always
fancy
had your
kind.
paper grocery bag, and people would drain straight on it. And then people started draining on paper towels, and then it kind of came up. But the reason I like to do this is because it keeps it nice and crisp. You're not sitting in the fat that you just came out of. But just for kind of old time's sake, you might want to do that once in a while.
I'm gonna grab my favorite part. I'm gonna come all the way over here and grab this fried chicken. I gotta find my favorite part real quick, which is the wing. I'm gonna take a quick bite. Can I do that?
I would love for you to
I
taste
gotta
some
do
chicken.
the taste test. Here we go.
I almost ate some for breakfast, so I'm glad that you're eating some.
Oh man, there's nothing better than fried chicken.
I love it. And it's really not that hard. Once
Rebecca.
you get into it, you see how easy it is.
This is mine.
Okay, I'll just have these
Y'all
in a
are
few
on your
minutes.
own, guys. Not today. We'll have more of Every Day right after the break. Stay with us. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you like it.